Hey, you guys, welcome to another edition of Ask Johnny. It is Thursday. And first off, I want to say thank you so much for the questions, the comments, the thoughts, the shout outs, and the good feelings. So just makes me feel good that people are actually watching this and enjoying it and being receptive and engaging. Um, a few things real fast. I want to apologize for Tuesday's video being cut off short. Basically, what it is that all of my video apparatuses record for like 30 minutes, and so it just ran out of time. But luckily, it came to the end. But I do apologize for that. Next time, I won't be so overzealous and get excited and have a gang of bonus questions. We'll just stick to one, maybe two if we're lucky. So there's that. Also, I've been asked a couple times already. Excuse me. Am I going to build out like a YouTube page, a channel? Am I going to have a Facebook page that's specifically dedicated to this? Am I going to have a Twitter? All this stuff. And the answer is yes. Like, I'm actually really, these first probably 6 to a dozen videos are going to be homegrown, but hopefully I will start building out stuff here soon, and also do a little bit of crowdfunding through GoFundMe to raise money to get like better equipment and stuff like that, and editing software, and able to add like closed caption and like music and all types of stuff. And I don't know, maybe I'll get some people that will be willing to just flat out sponsor me and sponsor this. So we'll see what happens. So there's that. And I apologize for not uploading a video at midnight or early in the morning, but I went out last night with some fabulous people. So a shout out to my boys, Mr. Michael Range, Mr. Kyle Cornelius, Mr. TJ Faust, Mr. James Lee, and of course, last but certainly not least, Mr. Adam Westfall. We went out last night and had a ball, and as Michael commented on my Facebook page, it was much needed. So with that being said, let's dive right into the questions. And the first question of the day comes to us from Steve. Well, not us, comes to me. From Steve. And Steve wants to know if I can name something about childhood that I miss. And the answer is yes. And it's the simplicity of a childhood. Childhood is just simple, you know. It's the building blocks and foundations for socialization, and therefore how you maneuver and interact with people as an adult through the world. But childhood is just simple. It's not as complex. It's not as you're able to take things and people at face value. It's just easier. It's just simpler. I mean, childhood's rough. It has its own, aspects that are rough and difficult. But yeah, for the most part, it's simple. So there you go. Next up, Miss Erin Masters wants to know. She says, "What's your thoughts on the University of Oklahoma closing down the SAE fraternity, more so the situation as a whole?" First of all, for those of you that don't know, real quick, so University of Oklahoma, there was a video of this fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and there was, the group was gathered, someone video phoned it, go cammed it, something, whatever. But they recorded this chant, and the chant, I believe, was "No niggers will step foot in SAE." I think that's it. Don't quote me on it. You can Google it and find out. It was uploaded online, instant media firestorm, and the university shut it down. They shut the fraternity down. It was like, you have till Sunday to get, as Bernadine said in Waiting to Exhale, get your shit and get out. Good for them. Usually it's, fraternities and sororities are really ingrained tradition, private club tradition in collegiate life, and it's very pervasive. And there's a society has been built out of just ridiculous and foolish behavior. There's people lose their lives to hazing every year. It's a breeding ground for all types of nefarious things. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of fraternities and sororities out there that do wonderful things that aren't racist or transphobic or homophobic or gender discriminant or ageist or anything like that. But it just goes to show basically that racism is still alive and well, and that ignorance will always be alive and well in the new millennium. That in 2015 we still have to really deal with some of the issues that we thought that we had made progress in. It just shows that one step forward, sometimes 2 steps back is how it goes, and that unfortunately that's where we're at. And it just, I'm very proud of the University of Oklahoma staffs, because they didn't sweep it under the rug. The president said we will not tolerate racism. We will not tolerate inequality, and we're not just going to slap you on the wrist like this is a no and we just shut it down. So that's my whole take on the situation. I'm interested to see how many more of these situations will pop up and how other schools will respond in the future. So there you have it. All right, so next up, my girl come to me. She sent this via her Twitter account, Miss Typhoid Mary, and she wanted to know what my thoughts were on last night's episode of Empire. I'm the daddy. Shoot me. What? Spoiler alert, I am so sorry if you didn't watch it, but you should have because you're not watching this. I won't say anymore, but I will do a special Ask Johnny episode where I will revisit this question and then take all questions about Empire. Okay? So, matter of fact, for Tuesday, so start sending your questions now. But, so, TM, hold on, boo. I'm going to get you a boss legit answer, but for right now, that's the best I can do for right now. Yes! It is, Empire's everything. It is the new Millennium Dynasty. Bam. For those of you that grew up in the 80s or were, in your 20s or 30s in the 80s and watched Dynasty, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, Google it. All right. Game Boy Forever wants to know, who's your number one candy crush? For those of you who don't know, my friend, who I'm using one of his handles, we refer to people that we're interested in as candy crushes, because they're very sweet and tasty and yummy, but they may not necessarily be good for you. I have a number one candy crush. I have a candy crush that I'm interested in. And matter of fact, I'm hanging out with Candy Crush today, but I don't want to talk about it until, I just want to leave it where it's at. But I have a number one candy crush, if that makes you, there you go. I have a number one candy crush. I'm just not going to divulge who just yet. So there we go. All right. The For Real wants to know, says, what's the secret to your fried chicken? Well, Boo Bear, to quote a famous actress, Brittany Murphy, I'll never tell. The Colonel has 11 herbs and spices, and so do I. The secret is in the flour. That's all I'm going to say. There you go. Sorry. I know, I feel shady because I feel like there's 3 questions in a row that I haven't really answered, but hey, sometimes that happens at AJT. Just putting that out there. All right. My friend Ty says, okay, I love how he put his question. He just literally, it's Angie Stone beating her daughter, ellipsis, ... and then go. I haven't read anything about it. I saw Angie's mugshot. Ooh, child, she looked beat, and not in a good way. Okay, like brick beat, not beat to capacity. So there's that. But I haven't read anything, so I can't really, formulate it. But I would assume that I assume that this daughter is the child that she had with D'Angelo, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they had a son or a daughter, and I don't know if they had more than one. But I'll have to find that out. But like if the child was 18 or older, and she was talking out the side of her neck, and Angie was like, "Fall back, pump your brakes, rest your neck. You doing too much." And she ran up on her like a grown woman. Well, she got dealt like a grown woman. I mean, that's how I feel about that. Now, if the girl is a minor, under 18, but in that teenage range like that, if she got out of turn with her mother and her mother gave her a good old fashioned backhand, and that's what this is, and then Angie's in jail, sometimes your child needs to be. Here's my thing. I know not everyone believes in corporal punishment. I don't believe in child abuse because there's a difference between abuse and using corporal punishment as a tactic. I think most parents of a certain generation or that were raised by a certain generation use that as a last resort, a very last resort. I know my parents did. I got a few butt whoopings and I turned out okay. It wasn't abuse. It wasn't like they were beating me till they were tired. They were beating me with tire irons or, anything like that. It was, I got a spanking because I did something that was so extreme that talking to me was not effective. And no offense to people that use timeout, but timeout is not always effective. What have you learned when you've just sat in a corner? We have a timeout for big boys and girls called prison, and they constantly go back. So timeout isn't always effective. Sometimes As rational as we would like to think a 5-year-old is, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they need a swat or two, on the bottom. So if her daughter is like in the teenage range and she completely disrespected her mother or put her hands on her mother, yeah, her mother may have reacted in a way that was physical. Hopefully it wasn't, it doesn't turn out to be a case of hardcore abuse. Hopefully the daughter's older. Like I said, I don't really know much about it, but I did see the mugshot and I read the caption and the headline, so I'll investigate that. And I might have to on a questions revisited episode, definitely revisit this one and give a better answer. All right. So Barry T wants to know, what's your favorite movie? Death Set with Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, Gig Young and Joan Blondell. And in fact, I usually put it in at night and fall asleep to it. That's my favorite movie. All right. So Kel wants to know, hey, what's up, Kel? I haven't talked to you in a minute, and I get a question from you. Really do? Call me. Like, no, for real. Like, pick up the phone, Brooklyn. Call me. For real. You know the number. Okay? 317 area code. Boom. All right. Kel wants to know, what's the status of Titans and Dinner and Conversation with Johnny Mac? I've been looking forward to both for a good while now and want to know, when will they finally come out? For those of you that may not know, unless you lived under a rock or you just don't pay attention to me, either or, which is fine, Titans is a comic book that I put together. I started writing a couple years ago. And then Dinner and Conversation with Johnny Mac is a talk show that I put together where basically we had dinner and conversation about a myriad of subjects or a particular topic, one particular subject. Going back to the question from Tuesday, part of it is that I've kind of lost confidence in my writing. I've lost confidence in my ability to execute anything creatively. So the fact that I've made it to video 3, I feel like is a success for me in this. Hopefully I'll find an artist. That's the really big thing for me about Titans. I will find an artist that actually can really commit and can really work with me. And there's just issues on the art end. I don't want to go into it too much because there's some people that worked on the project that might see this and become in their feelings, and it's not anything that either party did per se. It was just a myriad of things and it hasn't worked out yet, but I still would like to finish that out, at least the first season, even if I don't ever do anything past the first 12 or 14 books that I had planned. And then Dinner with Conversation, so basically what happened was that I recorded it, it was edited and put together. I got a rough copy, and basically from a production standpoint, it was a good learning experience because I know the things that I want production and that I don't want. And the big issue was that the quality wasn't very good, and it had nothing to do with the people that worked on it because Brett did an amazing job. The problem was the location, really, and our sound wasn't really good, and there was just other things. And also it really needs to be a multi-camera thing, and so I'm gonna have to seriously come out of pocket and raise ducats for it. And so I'm gonna have to revisit that, and particularly because the subject matter was so good. It was about art, and so I might have to retool that a bit. But yeah, I don't know, just keep praying on it, and hopefully maybe I will actually get some confidence and get my ish together and make that happen, Kel, because I really would. I fret about it. I literally get sick and cry about it because I feel like that I constantly put out there in the world all these great things that I'm going to do, and then I feel like I feel like a big ass disappointment and failure. I do. I feel very much like I've let people down, and just, people are just like, oh, there's Johnny with an idea, he's not going to do anything with it, that's cute. And it tears me down and weighs on me, but hopefully we'll get that all together, and this project and other projects that I want to do will finally come to fruition. So there we go. Isadora sent me a question, and she wants to know, what is something that makes you laugh just by thinking about it? Every time is that damn Geico commercial where they're like, words can hurt, and it's the Western, and she's like, Jessa, don't go. He's like, I got to something, and then it says Geico whatever, and it says the end in really big words, and he's riding off into the sunset, and she's falling out oh no, and he hits his head on the E in end, and she's like, Jesse. It cracks me up every time. And to watch it, like, I just fall out like I've never seen it before. But yeah, that one's funny. Thanks, Iz, for that question. Biff wants to know, he says, "Hey Johnny, great show, man. Please do keep it up." I will, Biff, or I'll try to anyway. So I know you follow news and that sort of thing. My folks and I were talking about the whole Brian Williams thing going on at NBC. We would like to know your thoughts and feelings on the subject as a writer, journalist yourself. First of all, I'm not a journalist, but thank you for the kind words. And I'm a half-ass writer, so thank you for thinking of me in that manner. For those of you that don't know, Brian Williams heads NBC Nightly News, has been a journalist and has been with them for, probably decades. And basically, it was discovered that he was not 100% factual in some of his accounts with his reporting during the war that we read, the Iraq War. Basically, he said that he was in a helicopter that was under enemy fire, and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. And you can Google it and read the whole thing, but I'm giving you the very rapid gist of it. Here's the thing. There's been him, and then several years ago, there was Dan Rather over at CBS News who had a discrepancy in his accounting of something and therefore apologized and then left. Brian Williams has been suspended for, I think, 6 months or a year, something like that, has been suspended, and then there's question of whether he will come back in any sort of capacity. And my thing is, people are human, people are fallible. I don't think his intent was to truly deceive people or to be deceptive. Perhaps he got some things mixed up. He got some facts mixed up. It can happen as journalists. It could have been that there were shots being fired close by, and someone had made the comment, "We're under fire," and he felt like, "Oh, we're under fire." Although the servicemen that were with him said they weren't under any fire. So and he said this story several times. So it's kind of one of those things that, like, is it a question of, is it that you're, oh, I'm so sorry that I bumped the camera. Is it that your recollect is getting foggy because you're 12 years removed from the situation, 14 years, however long it is, or, you tried to make yourself look better. Journalism is about truth, and it's supposed to have integrity to that. It's kind of like, I feel like it's another shattered glass situation as well, or that it could be another shattered glass situation as well, because now we have to question other things that you reported on, and so we could find out that there's more stories that weren't exactly factual, and if that's the case, that'll be sad and unfortunate, because he's a talented journalist, and and NBC will be losing a great journalist. But when your credibility has been brought into question, it makes it kind of hard. So yeah, that it sucks, but I mean, it's one of those things, man. It just completely sucks that he it looks like he's going, that's how his career will be remembered. It won't be remembered for the great journalism. That's the thing. When you have an issue like this, when something like this happens, people don't remember you for the great things that you did. They only remember for the failure, for the salaciousness, the scandal that you have created, and that's, unfortunately, that sticks out more. And the good never, as much as we try to say, oh, the good outweighs the bad, no, it really doesn't. The bad will always outweigh the good, because that's the first thing that people will go to. And yeah, and that's sad and unfortunate, because like I said, I love him. I love him as a journalist. I think he's brilliant. And, so that's my thoughts on that, Biff, man, honestly. And tell Mom and Pop Biffs I said, hey, like, I miss you guys. I need to come over for some lox and bagels, because your mom's lox and her homemade bagels are everything. So that's it. Well, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much again for all the great questions, all the comments, all the tips. Put questions in closed captioning, which I need to do that. because I think that would be cool. And some other things, and yeah. So, oh, real quick. So, I need a sign off phrase, like for real. Like I'm borrowing other people's stuff, or my videos are getting cut off before I get to it. But, I need a good sign off phrase. So you know what? Why don't you guys send me your thoughts on a sign off phrase, and who knows, maybe I will actually use it, and if so, I will give you a special shout out, because that's all I can give right now is a shout out and my love and affection to you. That's all I can do. So with that said, thank you guys so much. This has been another exciting edition of AJT, and I am your host, Johnny Mack, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Don't forget to send your questions via Facebook, via email, via Facebook Messenger, via text message, all that good stuff. And matter of fact, actually next week we're going to do a theme week because of Empire, and I said that I would do that. So next Tuesday, send me your questions all this weekend about Empire, and I will pick the top 10 questions plus a bonus question about Empire, and we will discuss Empire. And so Boo Bear, I will get you Miss Mary a Boss Legit answer about last night's episode of Empire. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day. Be kind to one another. Bye.